Hey, welcome viewers and attendees to the September 10th, 2015 weekly backdrop status meeting. It is our last meeting before our 1.2.0 release, which will be coming out next Wednesday. So we've got less than a week to go before our next release, and we're really excited. There's a whole bunch of really great stuff that's going to be in 1.2. And we'll go over all of those and many other things over the course of this meeting. Our illustrious Jen Lampton is not with us this week, as she is on her way to the New England Regional Developer Summit, which is a WordPress, Drupal, and Backdrop, and all other CMS's conference that is happening in Connecticut. And if you are in the area, you should swing by and catch the keynote because it will be covering Backdrop, and Jen Lampton will be giving it. So let's see. Updates from the. Let's do general announcements. First, general announcements. We've got free PHP Storm licenses for any Backdrop contrib developers. We actually could probably give them to core developers as well, but for the sake of the approval process with JetBrains, you have to be a contrib author to get a PHP Storm license from Backdrop, but we've got lots of them. And if you have joined the Backdrop contrib group, then you can email us info@backdropcms.org if you would like a license, and we'll shoot one your way. There's an upcoming camp in Utah, Drupal Camp Utah, February 26, 2016. It would be a great time if anybody's interested in skiing or snowboarding. Utah is great skiing, and the camp will be in the winter, so I imagine there'll be great skiing around that time. But they're looking for speakers to give a talk on Backdrop, and if you are in the area or planning on attempting Drupal Camp Utah, you can send us an email or send the organizers an email, and they are trying to lure more speakers there. If you're interested in talking about Backdrop, you could acquire a scholarship of up to $500 to help cover your travel costs and or lodging. Let's see. Updates from the PMC, Backdrop, our project management committee that kind of guides the project. If we have any announcements or updates, we make them at this time, but there's been no points of contention or any changes anytime recently, so we have no announcements at this time. Community growth. We like to talk about how the project is coming along in terms of the modules that we have available every week. And we have a total of 148 total projects, including modules, themes, and layouts for Backdrop CMS that is available from github.com/backdrop-contrib. 2 new modules have been published since last week. We also have 76 total projects with official releases on backdropcms.org, and that's 5 new projects since last week. And I think that this is great. Last week, actually 2 weeks ago, we launched the browsing interface for downloading modules, themes, and layouts on backdropcms.org. If you visit the site, then over in the sidebar, you can see that we have links to modules, themes, and layouts. And that will let you search the available projects that are available for Backdrop directly from our website, rather than having to go dig them out of the Backdrop contrib group on GitHub. If you would like your projects to be published on backdropcms.org, they need to be in the Backdrop contrib group on GitHub. And then if they're tagged with a version that is 1.x-1.xy, whatever version of the module it is, GitHub will synchronize that information over to backdropcms.org, and it will be published on backdropcms.org as an official project. Also, a note on top of that, besides just doing the tag, you also need to make an official release on GitHub, which lets you enter like change notices and things like that into the release notes. And then that will actually make the release. I've been saying that you just need to tag it, but Jen pointed out to me this past week that she tagged something but didn't appear right away because you need to also make a release on GitHub, and then it will sync. We have 38 total authors who are in the Backdrop Contrib group. We'd love to get more authors. It's been fantastic to see all of the work that we've been able to do with our team, and 38 people is nothing to slouch at, but it would be great to get more developers involved porting modules into the Contrib group. We've actually been having a lot of new activity in the core queue. I've been seeing a lot of new faces. But those people right now are just kind of trying out Backdrop and haven't actually started porting modules. But all of those interested people, including those new core devs, if you're interested in porting and maintaining modules for Backdrop that are ports or just brand new modules for Backdrop, then you can apply to join the Backdrop Contrib group at github.com/backdrop-ops/contrib. And that's where we go through the approval process of getting people access to the Contrib group. Okay, let's see. Infrastructure tasks. We like to talk about all of the parts around Backdrop that aren't Backdrop itself, such as our website, backdropcms.org. So update checking, we still talk about this every week, even though it's been in place for quite a while now. If you've published new versions of your modules as a Contrib author, then that will automatically notify people that are running that Contrib version of your module if they're running the update module on the Backdrop websites. So that functionality has been working for quite a while, but there's some tangential functionality related to update module on Backdrop CMS that we could be collecting usage statistics of all of the sites that are out there that are running Backdrop and running these Contrib modules. And right now, the statistics are coming in, but they're not aggregating correctly. And right now, only administrators can see the usage statistics, but we had them collected for a couple of weeks, but now they're all showing up as 0. So our usage statistics are kind of borked at the moment. We'll need to get that figured out as part of the project module to figure out why our usage statistics aren't accruing properly. Let's see, Project Browser. Project Browser is a project that lets you install and find modules and themes directly from your Backdrop website without needing to leave it. And we've been moving forward trying to get that improved and out there, and we've actually already deployed to backdropcms.org the server component that delivers JSON feeds to that client-side project that you would install on your Backdrop website. That's coming along really well. Doc Beaumont's been doing a fantastic job spearheading that. The update server is up. The client side is working. But there are some small issues with searching and getting the proper results back. So we're working that out. It's issue 870 is where you can track all of that progress on getting Project Browser officially up and running on backdropcms.org. If that all comes together before the next release, which I think is really likely, we could be seeing Project Browser as part of the 1.3 release. Which will be early next year. Let's see, Drush for Backdrop. People love Drush, we love Drush, but we haven't had Drush for Backdrop yet. In the entire existence of Backdrop, we've just kind of been slumming it with the normal user interface and scripts that that ship with core. But it should be possible to make Backdrop run with Drush, but we've run into a number of issues. There's issue number 47 in the Backdrop issue queue for making Backdrop Drush compatible. And we've been seeing a lot of progress on this recently, and actually we've found a couple of issues with Drush's implementation that make it difficult for us to use it with Backdrop. But Greg Anderson, the maintainer of Drush, has been really receptive to changes in Drush that make it possible to work with Backdrop. And so we're collaborating back and forth there to make that happen. So some progress there. You can follow along in issue number 47. There's updates as recent as today where Greg has been trying to figure out ways of making all of this more possible. Okay, let's see. Our primary website, backdropcms.org. Some really exciting things have happened. We recently launched the modules, themes, and layouts search pages. We do have some plans to clean up the navigation and to build out more functionality. Of course, once we get the usage statistics working, then we'll be able to sort by most installed modules. But for now, we don't have that information. So right now, they're all in order of date published, I think, which isn't the most helpful order for browsing, but the searching interface works pretty well. Let's see. Earlier today on the design call, if you were in or heard or watched that one, we talked about fixing the primary navigation. We thought that maybe we would put modules, themes, and layouts into a drawer like the handbook, but upon consulting with our designers, they've kind of decided that minimizing the navigation on the left-hand side would be a better approach, like removing the home link and removing the press kit link and putting those elsewhere would make more room for modules, themes, and layouts in the primary navigation, which seems like a good plan. Okay, let's see. So, lots of other stuff that we're planning for the primary website. We want to make it so that everybody can log into the website and manage their projects and publish things there, but that will be coming later. We also want to have a showcase once more sites are out there that are running Backdrop, and I know that there are quite a few that are finished or nearing production status, which is really exciting. And when we get those sites completed, it would be fantastic to see some write-ups on those individual sites so that people could see what you can do with Backdrop. So we've got a bunch of plans for backdropcms.org, but all of that will be later. Let's see. Backdrop CMS, the actual project. Let's talk about that. So the next release is Backdrop 1.1.4 is the next bug fix release for the 1.1 series. I think what's going to happen though at this point though is that our 1.2 release is scheduled for September 15th, which is coming right on up. So September 15th, we will probably do 2 releases. We'll do the last 1.1 release, a 1.1.4 release that includes all of the bug fixes that we've corrected in 1.1 up until this point. And we will also be releasing 1.2. And 1.2 is our minor release that includes new functionality. And of course, it'll also include all of the bug fixes. So 1.2, the really exciting news for this week is that it will be coming out next week. And we have a bunch of new features that are in 1.2 that we can talk about. The first one that we've had done for a little while that we're continuing to improve upon is a rich text editor. A rich text editor, we've put CK Editor in core and added the ability to upload images directly from CK Editor that gets stored in the Backdrop file system and are managed. And when you upload images or delete content, they synchronize with the images that are inside of that content to clean them up properly or not delete them if the image is used in multiple locations. Lots of really great work there. And we've got a number of follow-up issues, mostly around user experience, about how we could clean up the configuration of text formats and editors and filters that you can follow along with at issue 1087. And issue 1087 is a meta issue of all of the follow-ups that we'd like to get done for CK Editor. Email module, which is issue 476, was committed this week. Fantastic. Although Paul, hello Mr. Cat, is back at college now and unable to revel in the fruits of his labors. Thank you, hello Mr. Cat, for your work on email field and for making that happen for the 1.2 release of Backdrop. On top of that, email field looks like it's totally done. It's really simple, and I don't think there's much that we really need to do there. So email, really happy to see that in the next release. Link module, in addition, was also merged this week. Woo! So fantastic to see that in as well. So link, email, and CK editor all in core for 1.2. So we're looking really great for our release. There are a couple of follow-ups for link module. There's not a meta issue for it because there aren't very many issues. But we'd like to do some work to make it so that link module could be used specifically to configure for absolute or relative links. Right now it does both. And there's also a small issue that some top-level domains right now are treated as though they were absolute URLs, even though they possibly might be relative links. It's all a little bit messy. But both of those are really pretty minor. One's a feature and one's a minor bug. We're looking much better than the D7 version of Link because we support all top-level domains, and we also support UTF-8 characters, so you can have like Arabic domain names and Chinese domain names and things like that, and that's all considered acceptable, unlike the D7 Link that is a little bit too strict in its validation routines. Okay, and then lastly, date module. Date module was the last of the 4 things that we would like to see in the 1.2 release, and it's always been a little bit behind, but we put a lot of effort into it. The issue for that is issue 478, and I would love it if everybody that was interested in date module and those that are on this meeting took a little time to take a look at date module, check out the branch that includes, or check out the pull request / branch that includes date module, and evaluate that and see if it does what you expect and if it seems relatively bug-free, and then read through the code. Because we're in this kind of conundrum right now where we're not really sure if we should be merging it in into the 1.x branch at this point. We're less than a week away from release, and it looks like the date functionality is all done. It's all passing tests, and it's all exactly what we want it to be as far as we know. But it's had a lot less, it's a lot bigger project, and it's had less review than some of these other components. And so we're up in the air right now about whether or not that's going to make it into 1.2 or not. There's a lot of great excitement there still because we are really close, but I'd like to get a community feedback on how we feel about putting that in. I personally have a tendency to rush and just like put it in, which has advantages and disadvantages. But I'd really like for everybody to weigh in there and see how you feel personally about getting that in core now or waiting later until the 1.3 release. All right, let's see, other items for 1.2. There are a number of bug fixes that I'd love to see, but of course we'll fix those at any time. The actual only new features, there's a number of them that may happen, but are kind of aggressive. We will definitely see we'll see his work on vertical tabs. He's made them responsive, which is fantastic. We'll see that in 1.2 for certain. But there's a number of other smaller things like cleaning up the way text formats are configured, cleaning up filter links, possibly renaming article and basic page to post and page respectively. A lot of these things they have pull requests and they're in the queue, but it's a little bit of a rush to finish them in time. But we'll see. It all looks really good with the functionality that we've completed for the 1.2 release. Looking forward to 1.3. 1.3, our plan for 1.3 is mostly to be a stabilization and incremental improvement in all of the existing systems that we already have in place. So we want to make some improvements to layouts. We want to make improvements to the rich text editor. We want to convert more of our administrative listings to views. Right now we've got like the list of the list of nodes and the list of comments are converted to views, but other things are still manual SQL query pages. We've got a lot of these issues that have kind of been stuck around for a long time, but haven't been getting the proper attention because we've been really focused on delivering these major new features. So for 1.3, we're going to cool our heels a little bit and really make some improvements to all of the individual systems and get a much more polished product out there rather than one that just has a whole lot of features fire hosed at you. All right. There's always continuous improvements in user experience and developer experience. We have those tagged on GitHub under UX and DX with square brackets up in the front, and you can find those issues really easily. We'd always like to improve and include those changes as soon as possible. So that's pretty much what 1.3 is going to be all about. In the next week, we probably won't see any new features that haven't been filed already, but if you have an idea, please file it anyway, and we'd love to see it in the next release. Sprinting every Thursday after the weekly meeting, after right now basically, we do a pull request review extravaganza and try to communicate in IRC and in GitHub to kind of push forward Backdrop a little bit further. Really, it's going to be a crazy Backdrop week for me. Anybody that files things, I hope that I will be getting back to it immediately because I've set aside some time for this next week to prepare for the release that comes up next week. Let's see. Also regarding sprints, there's a good chance that Jen Lampton will be leading a sprint at the New England Regional Developer Summit, and I know Jeff said you would be there, so maybe you can also get together with her and you guys can have a little powwow for the 1.2 release. Let's see. Upcoming events. Of course, there's Nerd Summit happening pretty much right away, starting tomorrow. Jen Lampton will be giving a keynote on Saturday. So if you're in the area, drop by and check that out. There are also some other upcoming Backdrop events. The Pacific Northwest Drupal Summit, October 10th through 12th. I think that there's somebody giving a Backdrop talk at that, but I'm not certain about it. Backdrop Summit, October 22nd at Bad Camp, will be the first ever full all-day exclusive Backdrop event. We're really excited about that. We've got some great proposals. Jen and I will be giving a talk. We'll be doing some live demos. Wes will be giving a talk on theme development. We would like to have talks on porting a module to Backdrop, upgrading your site to Backdrop, and any other ideas. If anybody's interested in speaking on Backdrop or you've built anything with Backdrop and you're going to be at Bad Camp, we'd love to have you presenting at the first ever Backdrop Summit. Let's see, Drupal Camp Ohio, October 22nd through 24th, also Backdrop friendly event, and we'd love to see some Backdrop action happening there as well. Whew, okay. It's a little bit lonely being the only moderator on these calls. Jeff and Andy, do you guys have anything you'd like to add to the meeting? Any updates or announcements? Let's see. Andy's got a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of new modules coming out. Andy, our code machine, pushing out lots of new contrib modules. Yeah, I'm still just really thrilled with all the work you've been doing, Andy. It's just been really, really helpful. It's also great to see our number of contrib modules going up week after week. Okay, and yeah, and porting charts module in the near future for you. Yeah, sure. And I was the contrib author of that in Drupal 7. Yeah, I'd be happy to help if it comes, if you need it. Okay, Well, thanks guys for joining. Thanks everybody for watching. We're really excited about having our release coming out next week. So we'll keep our heads down. I'm going to try to make a video detailing the highlights of the new release, and we'll probably publish that to our regular YouTube channel and possibly to the homepage of backdropcms.org. So it's going to be exciting times. A little bit of chaos ahead, but it's all happening. All right. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week. All right. Bye, guys.